Ladies and gentlethems, kings, queens, and all the in-betweens, welcome to the Mental Breakdown Podcast. Hey, it's me. I'm Jake Bassi. I am the host of this. Hey, this is new. This is a new thing. Ooh, look at this. I'm all by myself. Wow. This was supposed to be a guest-heavy podcast. Well, there's a couple of things. I'd like to get into as we start this. Well, happy holidays, first of all. If you're, this is being recorded the day before Thanksgiving. Hold for plane. We're going to get into that. Happy Thanksgiving or happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. It's not important, you know. People are going away for a little bit. All the transplants are leaving, which is great for the LA natives, is that the traffic lightens up and we can actually have peace and quiet and not have, people cutting you off and not using a turn signal. Ooh, touch the spot on the doll where the turn signal hurt you. Please. It's awful drivers. I don't know if they're from here. I don't know. But it's just, there's going to be less of that, which is great. And this is going to come out first week of December, I believe. So, happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Cannabismas, Kwanzaa, Chronica, whatever, it doesn't matter. Celebratory things are, subjective, relative, whatever, what have you. Couple of things to announce, also to announce at the top. I'm producing a couple of shows. I've got on the 18th is the next Hellbent for Laughter. That's at Knucklehead Bar in Hollywood. You should come check that out. That is $3.00. On December 20th is Cannabismas. I'm going to be working on the poster for that very soon. That is a 420 friendly weed / Christmas party comedy experience. I'm going to have a chart reader, a tarot card reader, because there's a lot of weird white girl energy in the community, and I feel like I need to get those people into a room because that demographic is extra supportive, and dudes are weird loners that don't bring friends to shows. So, I'm gonna lean into that divine feminine energy. And, weed is going to be there. There's going to be people reading your palm and shit. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come to that. I highly encourage it. Pun intended. And we've also got Riff 182 coming up on New Year's Eve. That's on December 30th at the Oaks Tavern. I may or may not have a permanent home for Riff 182. A quarterly show every fifth Monday at that spot. I don't know, pending. We'll see. But that would be great if that's locked in. But that's definitely happening on the 30th. That is emo night, comedy, karaoke, fusion thing. That's another fun idea that I have going. So lots of fun stuff, of course, over the holidays, which at the same time would be difficult to get bodies in seats because people go home. They leave. They go visit their families and have fun, or don't, because I believe it's going to be a very awkward dinner conversation at the table, given the state of things right now. I don't know. Do you guys start your day screaming? Anyhow, this is a little different. We're doing a thing. I'm doing a thing. I'm moving. I'm going to be changing addresses. So for a number of reasons. Save money. While I'm frugal, I can get by in this spot on my own without a roommate. But, the guy I'm going to be living with, he's a good friend of mine. We met in college. So, there's already that trust is already built. And I'm going to be saving some money. There's going to be a common space where I can still shoot my self tapes and have people over and do the pod and all that stuff. And, and also trying to pump the brakes just a little bit, because I'm going to tell you guys a little on how the sausage is made here. Key thing, I don't know if you guys are picking this up. I live by the airport, so that's not great audio quality. I don't like that. That is frustrating. It frustrates me a lot. It shouldn't, but it does. So, and also, podcasts are in more of a studio, and I know a lot of people start them out of their apartments. A lot, tons of. But there's a better way, and if I know I can find a better way, that's what I'm going to lean into by any means necessary. because I know consistency is key to putting the clips out there and getting in the algorithm and telling your friends and doing the blah, 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 all the social media-ing, which is so frustrating because while I do want to just post, ghost, let it go, and don't get drilled into my phone and start like sending it to people and responding to any comments or what have you. It gets frustrating to keep pumping this out and having consistent guests and all that. And there's only so many people that I can go through. People that I trust, first of all. I want to be able to know someone enough and like have an hour-long conversation about what's going on in your brain up there, the stuff that frustrates you, the pet peeves, heavy metal, of course, because, and that's something I have to change too. I have to like talk to people about a thing that I care about. And if we give a shit, you give a shit. So I've been told. I'm getting some coaching on that. So I have to be more clear on the brand, be more clear on the intentions, and study up and read some books. I'm going to be reading a couple of books on, content creation and all the social media marketing. I was told that the thumbnail game is very important. The thumbnail game is key. Even if it's just shorter videos on dumb, stupid shit, titties bouncing in the thumbnail, people are going to click on it, and it could have nothing to do with titties bouncing. It has nothing to do with that. And that's such a, that's another thing. Cause like I view myself as a smart person. And a lot of this brain rot, doom scrolling stuff is really designed to have you checked out, docile, and locked in on the meme of the week or whatever, And the phone is a curse, and I need to take this time to reflect, and research, and really improve on things, because I know this is a slow climb. There's not a lot of you here. There's a few people on board, and I'm happy you're there, and there's Patreon homies. I'm happy you're there. It's a continuous build that I have to do in order to do this better, because so much production value. If you're a person that listens to podcasts regularly, there's production value that goes into this. The big ones that are like super huge, they have the budget, but I'm just a dude. I'm just a dude with a microphone, and I literally did a set on this yesterday, and it's becoming closer to a rant than it is a bit, is that there's too much of this. There's just too much people in a microphone. Hey, it's me reading an ad. Look at the cult of me. And it's just, wow. Video might have killed the radio star, but now the radio star has been brought back to life and Frankensteined into podcasting, which is a fusion of the two things, like some sort of Frankenstein's monster bastardization. Like, dude, I remember 10, 12 years ago, everybody and their mom had a web series, and it was so annoying. People were just going, check out my web series. Ugh, I made a fun show. Fuck Hollywood. Which now seems like the move, because the industry is crumbling as we speak, and you could still make dope shit and be happy and not have like the crazy Hollywood budget, as long as you're happy. Who cares if you're living on food stamps and you're living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 other people? Who cares if you're in a polyamorous relationship for the bills? Who cares if you're on every side hustle imaginable, ranging from Uber Eats to hosting trivia night at bars and getting a quick $50. Like, there's all of this side money to be made that I never really looked into. And everybody's doing something else to supplement the main thing. And that's hard to do, because there's people that are Renaissance people out there. Oh, I'm a dancer, I'm an actor, I'm a comedian, I'm a videographer. There's people are doing all of these things And whichever one of these things works out first financially, that's the thing you lean into. And, it's not always the thing that you want. It's not always plan A or plan B. Sometimes it's plan F or G, you know. So a little on the sausage being made. This was a guest heavy podcast so far. I pre-recorded a lot of episodes. A lot of them were like, not on the fly, on the date, because I had several people on before the election, and a lot of those first couple episodes, guys, I apologize in advance. It's just me repeating the same thing, like, oh, the politics and all, because it was a frustrating time. I got too invested into it. I kept paying attention to the candidates, and just both, like, seeing the fumbles on both ends, just going like, oh, this is what we've come down to. We're voting for a game show host or a cop who got, like, shadow governmented in. I don't know. That's just my raw thoughts on that. I don't want to get too heavy into it and, like, potentially lose you, because it's a deep thing that frustrates me. I go into the conspiracy theory rabbit hole sometimes, and I go, oh, how is the sausage being made? Dude, like, I complained that, I got my ballot entirely in Korean. What's up with that? Like, is North Korea getting involved in the U.S. elections? This is nuts. Why is this happening? I'm so checked out from it. And I want to navigate a better way to do this. So I'm going to take the time to read some books, read a couple articles, and seek guidance again from my coach. I'm going to call him my coach. And he's a good guy, and he gave me an inch, and I'm not going to be like asking for a mile. He's already given me some of the tools. I got a cool webcam off of him. I watched his dogs for 6 days while he was out of town, and we talked a little bit on just the content creation, just the game, and it got me thinking. It got me motivated to even start this thing and start another podcast. I had one called The Jaking Off Show, which, I had that idea because it was an idea I had when I was 14, like some kind of sketch show, and just make it just dumb, stupid shit that I shoot with my friends. And, I brought that title back. It became a live bar show that I produced, and it was too malleable and not really taking the shape that I wanted it to go, because there was too much, it wasn't clear on what the idea was. Like, what's the theme? There needs to be a theme. And I was talking to a comedian in Vegas, actually, which I should talk about that too. I was talking to a comic in Vegas about merch and about, your brand and all that. And a lot of guys, it's just their fucking face on a sticker and their name. That's it. Whether it's on a t-shirt or on a card or whatever, it has to have a type of use or be funny. He liked my merch that had the logo on it, which, like, boom, there it is. I'm doing this in post. The logo and slapping my name on there, ba-bam. And then just a joke. Portland sober, just heroin. It's on the koozies. It's on, it's koozies. I'm selling koozies, which that has a use. And I've been told by fellow individuals that are from, like, the South, Texas, and they're like, "Hey, we love our koozies." I'm like, dude, that's got a use. Keeps the drink cold, and that's good for the summertime. Not a great time now because it's winter, but that's the stuff that's just gonna sit in my car until I sell all of it, And I want to make a little money off of it, because comedy is diminishing returns a lot of the times, and you have to soften the blow on merch, but it has to be good. It has to have a use. There has to be also, kind of a demand for it, which that's hard to do. A t-shirt, it's just something that you wear to bed. or you walk around and show off the swag, but it's got to have a use. I'm thinking lighters and have it still say Portland sober, just heroin, because I think that would be funny. But there's little costs like paying for the butane and the materials to make the lighter and all that. And so I'm thinking of that because it's small, it's compact. Lighters are very useful. I would sell them for like a buck or two or whatever the cost it is to make the thing. Charge double so you can like make a little money back. That's the trick that I've picked up, that I've learned. I don't know if it works. I'm not a big deal. I'm just barely dipping my toe into the road. The road's cool, and I like it. I really do like it. I went to Vegas, did a gig in Vegas, drove the whole way. Took Drew Fahey with me. He's a good friend, co-producer of Hellbent for Laughter. We're warriors. We're soldiers. And I honestly couldn't do it alone, and I am limited to places where I know I can find a place to crash. And I remember him mentioning that, like, oh, his parents are in Vegas. And I'm like, oh, fuck, let's get a gig in Vegas, dude, and I'll take him with me. Like, let's go. And that's kind of my strategy right now for getting road gigs as of now, is just finding a place where I know I can crash somewhere. Bay Area is on the mind. I want to go back to Albuquerque again. That'd be super fun. But I took him with me, and we went and we drove. We listened to metal the whole time, and we got there. We pit stopped at Eddie World to get gas, and we like bought way overpriced jerky. That was like, hey, we want to make money on this trip, and we bought collectively like $80 worth of jerky, which we did get paid for the gig, which was sweet, but it was like, hey, had we not bought that fucking jerky, we would have actually made a little money. We would have we would have made a profit, but no, we splurged and got fucking beef jerky for the road. Yeah, typical mistake. But hey, this is how you learn, And I also learned that doing gigs outside of LA, like, dude, that's where it's at, man. Like, nobody's seen you before, so you can do the jokes like you're doing them for the first time. You don't feel like you have to hold back. Because sometimes, dude, I feel like I have to hold back when I do shows in LA. Because, while there are, they call them safe spaces, but it's not for the reason that you'd think, like, oh, we can't just say anything anymore. I'm not one of those alt comics. There's too many of those out there right now. When I say safe space, I mean places where you can try shit out and fumble the ball, get disapproval that joke didn't work, and that's it. And we know it's a joke. It's not out of malicious intent or whatever. We're not, punching down. I think, there's room to punch down in practice, so then you get the reaction or lack thereof, because that's when you go, oh, that joke's not ready yet, But sometimes those jokes where you're kind of punching down, they do work on the road. I do like some changing of phrase with a couple of jokes, and while it gets a mixed reaction here, when I lean into it, and we are here for jokes, and I lean into it, it gets a better reaction, and it's, then your morality comes into question. You're like, oh, do you want to be known as the guy that does that? I only have like one or two jokes that hit the heavy R word when I joke about my autism. And I feel like it's justified for me when I talk about it on stage, and I can say, I feel like I'm good for the R word, but with like limited use. There's, and you got to read the room, of course. So if it's middle-aged white woman in the Yoo-Hoo room at Flappers, that might not be the best choice. There's 31 flavors of comedy, and you got to be able to weave into that. You could be offensive, you can be observational, you could be a fucking hack and still get gigs, which is surprising. There was an old dude on the lineup that did like a straight internet joke. What did he say? He said, He said, "Oh, do you know why lesbians don't shop at Sports Authority? They don't like dicks." Ooh, and Drew and I were just going, "Oh man, this is a guest spot, and this is a guy that's been doing this for 50 years. Ooh, boy." I don't think this guy knows that everyone else also has access to memes. It's just wild to me because he was like this old school, like Rodney Dangerfield, like, "Oh, no respect at all. Hey, you hear about these women? They be shopping, huh?" And it's just, hello, dude. Like, do you know that Google has been around for like 25 years? Come on, guy. It's astounding. But hey, they get booked, and there's hobby comics, and that really separates the men from the boys. But these road gigs are fun, and I want to get more of them, and I need to be able to match that and still be able to put this stuff out. I had another idea called the Metal Breakdown, which I did start doing a couple of things, but there's like some copyright issues because I want to do a Beavis and Butthead type of thing. Where I react to music videos, and also you have to learn something. The Gojira video was really good, but because of copyright stuff, and I don't quite know how to navigate that, and that's another thing that I need to sit down and like kind of pry about, which is like, let's learn how to do this right before you just go fucking do it. No seatbelt, no brakes, just go. And it's hindering my progress as a creative type, so to speak. And I do need to pump the brakes, slow down, and do this. And I'm saying this already because I'm repeating the mantra because I know I'm good for it. I can do it. Not having a guest is definitely, it definitely changes the energy of the thing. And you want to like talk to people. A lot of guest work is having their friends watch, and then you gain subscribers from that, and like everybody wins and has a chance to like get to know you better. One big goal, that's generally a win, I think, socially and for kind of all parties, is in comedy. For me, at least, you don't really have the time to really sit down and get to know someone, because you're in a bar, you're at a club, there's people everywhere that you want to, lock in with, talk to, network. Everything's for the networking. I did it all for the networking. The what? The networking. So you can get that pet working. So take a picture of your cat. It's ADHD. It's always a song in my head. Anyhow, everybody's always networking and bouncing around when there's a huge lack of one-on-one time to really sit down and talk to someone about either their creative process, their coping mechanisms, or just hanging out. Kreshu was on, and it was literally the first time we hung out outside of comedy. And of course it had to be a fucking podcast. I'm dying laughing at it. Just my own hypocrisy because of what I said yesterday. It was just, hey man, video killed the radio star, and podcasting necromanced the corpse. That's what happens, man. That's literally what happened. Everybody's doing their fucking show, and based on your resources, people do a 2-shot. I'm doing a 1-shot thing because then I'm literally doing this all by myself. If I'm doing a 2-shot, I'm spending exponentially way more hours editing. And I had like the 2-shot idea. One of my batteries doesn't have like the full juice, and one would die. I had the first time I recorded Christina DiBiase, which was the first episode, and good first impression, because my coach was like, "Yeah, nice, man. Your first guest is a hot chick. That's a good move." And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks. That wasn't my first thought." But I'm like, I can see that. And we recorded, we talked, and camera battery dies on my end. The file gets corrupted on one of the cards, which never happened before. And this was like such a bad first impression of mine. I'm like, oh my God, I can't put this out. I can't save this. I can't save the audio. I can't save the video. This is bad. And I hit her up and I was like, hey, you're gonna hate me for this, but I can't salvage the footage. Can we re-record next week and pretend like we're talking for the first time? And she's like, yeah, cool, whatever. It's all good. Don't even worry about it. Don't even trip. And I'm so appreciative of that. And I told her, I'm like, hey, I'll comp you on your gas. I'll buy you Starbucks. I'll do whatever just to, get an hour and change of your time and to also promote the show and, talk about the mental breakdowns, which her thing was very interesting. And, we talked off mic about it and all that. Go back to that episode with Christina. She's a nice lady. She's a very nice lady. Yeah. And, she's cute. But again, I wasn't thinking that at, the first time, because my coach was like, dude, you got a hottie on the first one. You're going to get more views when you have hot women on. And I'm like, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I get where he's coming from that. Where he's coming from, and she had the most views, which that's part of the goal. That's part of the goal, and I've noticed, not just with her specifically, but like the ladies I've had get more views than the guys, which tells me on an analytical end, because I look at the numbers, I look at all the stuff. I shouldn't, but I do, and I'm like, oh. These are women that have like twice as many followers as the guys, and it's just simps out there simping. Just out there simping. Just looking at her like, there's a reason why I have a wide shot and I don't go below the fucking knees. Because there's weird fake dudes out there that are just, and I know how people get about that. And there's just weird foot porn guys out there that just like, I want to look at her feet. It's just, why? I don't understand. But I mean, this also should stand corrected because Jeffrey Waterman broke the record, and that's a guy on there. And he had the most views. Maybe it's because of the clip I put out that was really engaging because he said he said grenade, and I'm like, that's a funny joke, and now I have to go in there and post and bleep it out because I said that, and it's just a funny thing where it's unfiltered. We can talk, we can let it loose. There are safe words if names get named on the pod, so people are comfortable. Because I had Alex Cave on, which, like, God, that was hard because I had an audio issue there. I hadn't quite figured it out yet. So, I mean, she's had a year. Oh, she's had a year. She's had quite a fucking year. And, which fits the theme. And, I'm there. She's my friend. I've got her for emotional support. And that was a lesson learned too, because that was episode 2, which was really episode 1. I hadn't figured out the audio. I'm just, am I having this not figured out by the time I get to rolling it? I'm like, hey, let's slow down a little bit and not jump the gun. Really kind of know what you're doing first. So I got that figured out, but we're gonna have her on again in a rotation. There's a few people I'd like to have on again in a rotation, just to keep the party going. I've had interesting people on so far. Joseph Paul, he was a guy that I met at Flappers. He's working over there. That's his, he's in the sound booth doing his thing, and he's got his show, Tastes Like Chicken. Great show. I support that fully. I watch it, and it's, and his channel, same conversation, just like, hey, it's doing it right and getting the subscribers and making your thing. And he's making some headway on it because he's just a really picky eater. And that was just really interesting because I'm like, dude, how are you married and you have all of these, these quirks about you that scream, single for 12 years, which is me. And all you eat is chicken nuggets. Like, that's a very interesting thing. And he's doing his show, trying new foods for the first time, because not only is it content, it's personal growth. And being on that journey with someone, is not only entertaining, but educational. You learn stuff about people, and people are inherently interesting, good or bad. And for me, it's simply just talking to other people, because my social battery runs out fast. I would do a show and I'm gone. I'm out. I'm out, whether I had a good show or not. Like, I'm out of the door, dude. And that's mostly with bar shows, mainly because I don't drink. I don't want to be around people that have drinks in their hand. It's just not for me. And being 7 years off of alcohol, the itch is still there, and I don't want to, allow that in my space, in my reality, and and it hinders me because again, it's all for the networking. Just knock a couple back and do the networking. But I can't do that. There's other ways. That's why the Cannabismus is more fun to network and schmooze and like hang out and be a part of a community, because you can smoke in it. It's a dispensary. It's great. I'm gonna have so much fun with that show. Oh man, it's gonna be so much fun, man. I love it. I love it. I love I love producing. I love giving myself opportunities and giving other people opportunities. But it's hard work. It's hard to get asses in seats. I'm a nobody from nowhere. There's always something to do. People buy tickets last minute. And people say they show up and they don't, and that gets frustrating. And so that's going to be a continuing frustration at every level. And it's just one of these things I just got to get out of my system and clear, because I have to learn to not give a fuck so much, because I give too much a fuck to a point where I'm empathetic, and it's like, oh, this is about me now. I'm like, ugh. Like, I need to simmer down, So that's that mental breakdown of where my head's at, and I'm also, the neighbors are fighting, and it's an issue back there. It's my own Gaza crisis. The woman's from Boston, is Jewish. The guy is Muslim from Jordan or Iraq or wherever. And I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. And I'm glad to be, in the throes of moving to another space. I've got an application on file that I'm going to scan, fill that boy out, drop in some invoices, just do the life thing. And having people on during a move with all the stress, like, there's not enough bandwidth in there, and we gotta simmer down. We gotta do that, and it's gonna be fine. It's going to be fine. Nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's life is changing. It's for the best. And like any good TV show or series, there needs to be mid-season breaks. There's a season finale. Ooh, we got approved for season 2, halfway through the first one. So we're shooting, and it's like the work is going and going and going, and then the work is out. And then it's like, okay, let's take a week off, and then we'll get back to the writer's room for the next part, because it's very stressful. Creation is stressful. And there's this thing about hustle culture that people enforce. It is the no days off, always be doing something. Naps are important, breaks are important. You want to not suffer the burnout, because I did that earlier this year, where just producing a handful of shows became too much. And I was like, oh, fuck, I need a break. This isn't, working. And finding trust in others to help me produce the theme shows that I want to do, the metal show, the Riff 182, Cannabismus, and all that stuff, which is like, that's a Christmas present to myself. That room wasn't cheap to get, but it's a little Christmas present to myself and everybody else. We get to have some fun. And I'm happy to do that. But just, man, creating and making stuff and trying to get people on board is like pulling teeth. I actually had a few people discourage me from sending them clips and, just stuff that I want to engage the algorithm. There's the hashtags, there's the time of day, there's time of the hour. There's these little intricacies, got to put it up Monday morning, so it's the first thing people see when they wake up. They're on their phones. Tuesday morning, they're waking up, they're on their phones. Oh, there's people on the East Coast that are waking up and on their phones. Oh, you got to post this shit at 5 a.m., whether you have the ability or not to schedule the content and put it on the TikTok, the Instagram, the Facebook, wherever. And there's all these channels that I have to, I got to get a Twitter. I got to get a Blue Sky. I got to get a Truth Social. I got to get a fucking TikTok. And it's just all of these fucking things. And it's just, this is why they have it. The successful people just hire a guy to do that for them. And I'm doing this all on my own. I'm like, why can't we just go to one source and, because that way I'm not splitting my audience, because there's the YouTube views and there's the Spotify views. And it's all mixed up, because like, how many people are actually subscribed? How many people are listening to it for like a couple minutes? I'm like, oh, I listened. Oh, good stuff, bro. And it's, there's like the fake support, and, is it blowing up on Twitter? Is it blowing up over here? Where is it? There's all these facets, and different people fuck with different social media, and you have to just fucking put it all up there. And it's taxing. I don't know if you could tell by me screaming in overwhelm by this, but it's taxing on your soul. And the people that have the ability to do it, bless your fucking souls, man. Bless your heart. I'm not trying to be like a condescending thing, because I know how that phrase goes. There's the plane again. See what I'm fucking dealing with, dude? Like this. I hate it so much. And I gotta be able to improve. I'm gonna look back at this one day and go, wow, you started the mental breakdown out of a living room in an apartment in North Hollywood, and there's planes going by, there's people yelling at each other across the wall, there's dogs barking, there's people rolling shopping carts that are loud as fuck, and it's just there's a better way. There's a better way, and I'm gonna make a better way. So I'm gonna roll on the short form stuff for the metal breakdown, or change the podcast to the Metal Breakdown podcast instead of the mental. I don't know what works better. I do like getting into people's heads, but I also like talking about metal with people. It can be both. I know it can be both. There's a way where it can be both, and that's what I have to figure out. And and I'm gonna move, and we're gonna take a little breaky poo. That being said, I'm so happy that you guys are on board, and if you're not, whatever, your loss. If you're still here, if you've been supporting, thank you. I really appreciate it. It means more than you think. If you're a homie on Patreon, it means way more than you think. It really helps with gas. It really helps with costs of stuff. It helps with, really everything else that I do, because it's supplementing that. These comedy shows, they pay in drink tickets and spicy chicken sandwiches. Out here, you do the bar show, you lose. You pay to park in some places, and it's just, that little bit just softens the blow, and that's really the goal, is to just soften the blow on the great endeavor. And I thank you guys for being on board. Here's how the sausage was made. In my opinion, deep dive, you could say, on how this is done if you're not in the world of podcasting or in the world of content creation in general. You just watch the stuff, you watch your shows, you do your job, you take care of your family, and there's not room for much else. But for me, who doesn't really have much of a family, no kids, minimum wage fucking restaurant worker that's doing a creative, this is all I got. So to 2025. Happy Chris Mahana Kwanzaa, and I hope you guys enjoy your time with your loved ones. I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. All right, okay, thanks. Bye.